What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 90 of Marketing Siege Radio. As we start approaching the first 100 episodes of Marketing Siege Radio, it just makes me think about the humble beginnings of this podcast. Of course, we've been growing, and of course, I want to grow more because, the name of the game is expansion. The name of the game is to level up on a daily basis, on a consistent basis, and that's exactly what I intend on doing. But there's this thing that happens. I'm fresh off of doing a live training for the Magnetic Hero Group, and yesterday I talked about the hidden foundation of story creation, and I love teaching. I went to school to be a teacher. I taught a lot of kids that didn't want to be taught. And, I love to teach the ones that did want to learn. But I remember vowing not to teach anybody who didn't want to learn from me. That was just going to be the way that it was from here on out. That was like the push, really. And at first I was really sour about teaching ever again. I thought it was the teaching itself, but it was the teaching of the person who did not want to be taught or coached. And whenever I was first starting out this podcast and this entrepreneurial journey, I was really freaked out at the fact that my face must be everywhere. And I was, if you're a fellow introvert like me, this can be an extreme hurdle because I came off of teaching that live training yesterday. Like I was super pumped, super stoked to do it. I did it and I was super pumped and super stoked afterwards, but I was super drained. Like it's so draining to know that eyeballs are on me. So, you really crave success if you're like me in this, but you almost do whatever you can to sabotage it from time to time too. Trust me, I've been there. I've done that. I would, and I have created hours and hours upon hours of content. And I noticed I would do a few things. A few things would happen. I would post it where no one would see it. I would not actually post it. Or I would post it and delete it before too many people got to see it. Until this happened. And it made me realize that I could save a ton of energy and save all of my energy for when I really needed to use it. And, it all started with a friend of mine pointed me in the direction of ClickFunnels and Russell Brunson. Before this, I know I've talked a lot about funnels on this podcast before. Before that, I had no idea what a funnel was as opposed to a website. I just thought a funnel was just the thing you use to put gas in a lawnmower. But it was only, a few months later after getting into this culture that I found myself at Funnel Hacking Live 2018 in Orlando, Florida. And it was there that I got to see live and in person and feel the energy of, some of them were extroverts, a lot of them are introverts. I feel like making money online kind of draws in the introverts just by nature, but I got to see how these people were playing the game, and there were some life-altering presentations made during that Funnel Hacking Live. And, these entrepreneurs were explaining the way of how they played the game of online marketing, even though they were introverts, even though that, they needed to pick and choose when they used their extroverted energy and flex that muscle. And, it was around this time that it became real to me. That's when it began to click. And that's when it became attainable to me to be wildly successful and let myself get out there. But those few presentations that stuck out were Russell Brunson's Conversation Domination, which basically said, you must put your face everywhere. You got to be in everyone's face at all the time. Or you got to be in your audience's face, rather, not everyone's. Big distinction there. You must be in your audience's face all the time. They have to see you everywhere. And I was like, that sounds great, but and then Ping Jun did his content multiplier formula, and it became obvious to me what the plan was after that. I was going to have to take this newly acquired knowledge, take the content I'd done and the content that I was going to do, repurpose it and distribute it all over the place and actually put my face out there. The camera shyness was so overwhelming for so long that, I did something I think was super cool. And I think you'll find this pretty cool too. I would do something to get me creative. And that could be a lot of things. That could be rolling in jiu-jitsu. That could be sparring or just doing some striking, not necessarily sparking. Not necessarily sparring, playing a round or two of video games, or any other hobby, really. Just something that got me fired up, something that got me creative, something that would put me in the zone so that whenever I pressed play, pressed go live, pressed record, whatever it was, I would be ready to go. And, I just got done lifting weights. I'm strengthening my body back up, getting ready to begin training again. I've been training for a long time. Now that I got the structure lined up, you can start putting the meat on it. And that's exactly what, ClickFunnels and funnels in general allow you to do. Is once you have the structure set up, they allow you to start putting meat on the bone, so to speak. So the personal growth that I've experienced along this journey is something that I was never really aiming for directly, but it's happened, it's there, and it's truly changed my life. And just like me, you are really one funnel away as well as one upgrade away. But by the way, if you're an entrepreneur and you are struggling to get your message heard and your voice heard, even though you're doing some content, you would be well advised to hop on this one funnel away challenge that's going on. I'm going to leave a link in the description. It's been happening about once a month. And then after that, you have to wait for a whole month before you can get on the train. And trust me, it's well worth it. And the book that comes with it is worth the price of admission alone. The 30-day book, if you suddenly lost everything and you had to get it all back, it's got interviews from 30 different millionaires, internet millionaires, of what they would do exactly to get everything back. So you guys, it's in your best interest to get on there and take the challenge and get on top of it. So remember, guys, you're one upgrade away. Put yourself out there.